Sigmund Freud. He's a name pretty much everyone knows, but his ideas? Yeah, they're famously misunderstood. Today, we're going beyond the couch to figure out what his real legacy is. So let's just start with a quick question. If someone put you on the spot and said, name one famous psychologist, who would pop into your head first? Go on, think about it for a sec.
I'm willing to bet you said Sigmund Freud. For better or for worse, in the popular imagination, the guy is psychology. He's hands down the most famous psychologist ever, and his ideas have completely shaped the way we think about our own minds. But beyond the fame and the whole image of the cigar and the couch, what is he actually known for? A lot of the time, it's his most, bizarre and provocative theories that come to mind first. All the stuff that makes you kind of raise an eyebrow. And honestly, it's these ideas that have made him such an easy target for jokes over the years. And the man himself, he was a complex character, often pretty aggressive. Here's a perfect example. When he was fleeing the Nazis, they forced him to sign a paper saying he'd been treated well. He signed it all right, but he couldn't resist adding his own little sarcastic note. That kind of tells you everything you need to know about the guy. Okay, but if we can just push past the caricature and some of those weirder theories, we find this truly radical concept at the heart of his work. It was an idea that completely changed our understanding of who we are. This right here is Freud's single most important contribution, the idea of the unconscious. He basically argued that there's this huge, hidden part of your mind, and it's full of desires and motivations you don't even know you have, but they're secretly running the show. You ever forget a name at the worst possible moment? Or, say something you absolutely did not mean to say? To Freud, those aren't just random mistakes. Nope, he called them Freudian slips. It's your unconscious mind bubbling up to the surface, giving you a little peek at what's really going on under the hood. But according to Freud, this unconscious mind of ours isn't some calm, peaceful place. Oh no, it's a battlefield. So in one corner, you've got the id. This is the primal animal part of you that's been there since you were born. It runs on what he called the pleasure principle. It wants to eat, drink, and just satisfy all its desires right now with zero thought about the consequences. And fighting against the id is the superego. Think of the superego as that harsh, critical voice inside your head. It's the voice of your parents, your teachers, of society itself, and you've just kind of absorbed it. It's your conscience, constantly telling you what you shouldn't do and making you feel guilty about it. And who's caught in the middle of this epic battle? The ego. That's you, your conscious self. The ego's job is basically to be the referee, constantly trying to balance the crazy demands of the id with the super judgmental rules of the superego. So that's the big idea. Your mind is at war with itself, driven by all these hidden forces. It's a really fascinating story. But is any of it actually true? And that question, that one question, leads us to the single biggest criticism of Freud's entire life's work. You see, for any theory to be considered scientific, it has to be falsifiable. Now, that's a fancy word, but all it means is that you have to be able to test it and potentially prove it's wrong. If there's no way to prove a theory wrong, it's just not science. Look at these two claims. The first one, exposure to violent TV makes kids more violent, is scientific because you could actually design an experiment to test it. But the second claim, that a piece of jade helps you stay in touch with your fun side, how would you even begin to disprove that? It's so vague, it's what one physicist famously called not even wrong. And that's the big problem with so many of Freud's ideas. Let's say a Freudian therapist tells a patient, you secretly hate your mother. If the patient says, oh my God, you're right, well, the theory is confirmed. But if the patient says, no way, I love my mother, the therapist can just say, aha, your angry denial disproves you've repressed it. The theory wins no matter what. This whole lack of testability is a huge reason why you'll barely find Freud's name in a modern university psychology department. When researchers have actually tried to test his specific falsifiable claims, like the idea that strict toilet training leads to a super clean, anal personality, the evidence just isn't there. It doesn't hold up. So, okay, if his theories aren't really scientific, is that it? Is that the end of the story? Well, not exactly. Because despite all of the scientific critiques, in a way, Freud won. His core idea of a dynamic unconscious is so baked into our culture or movies or books that we don't even notice it anymore. Just think about words we use all the time, like denial, repression, or even ego. Those are all Freudian concepts that are now just part of how we talk about ourselves. And check this out. A really clever study by a psychologist named Norbert Schwartz shows just how easily our unconscious can mess with our feelings, completely without us realizing it. So here's what they found. The people who only had to list 3 positive things about someone they love found it super easy, and it actually reinforced their good feelings. But the group who had to list 10 positive things, they struggled. I mean, 10 is a lot. And that feeling of difficulty, that struggle, sent an unconscious message to their brains. Wow, this is hard. Maybe I don't like this person as much as I thought. Their conscious mind had no clue this was happening. All they knew was that they felt their opinion of their loved one dip just a little. And that is a perfect, modern scientific demonstration of Freud's main point. We are often totally blind to the real things driving our own emotions. So, while a lot of his specific theories have been thrown out, it leaves us with this huge, fascinating question. What if Freud's most revolutionary idea, that we aren't really the masters of our own minds, that hidden parts of us are secretly running the show, what if that was right all along? And that right there is the enduring puzzle of Sigmund Freud.